Did you know that automobiles contribute over 24% of the world's direct CO2 emissions? Is it any wonder that electric vehicles are gaining traction across the world? India isn't far behind. According to the India Energy Storage Alliance, the EV market is projected to clock a compounded annual growth rate of 49% between 2021 and 2030. Niti Aayog has set a target of EV sales penetration at 70% for all commercial cars, 30% for private cars, 40% for buses, and 80% for two- and three-wheelers by 2030. Automobile manufacturers, including the component makers, have lined up 70,630 crore rupees for EVs over the next 5 years, according to a Business Standard report. The thriving auto component industry is bracing for a paradigm shift. It accounts for just over 2% of India's GDP. In FY22, it recorded its highest ever turnover of $56.5 billion, rising over 23%, while exports grew 43% to $19 billion. According to the Automobile Component Manufacturers Association, auto component exports are expected to touch $80 billion by 2026, and the industry aims to achieve $200 billion in revenue by 2026. The transition to EVs presents both opportunities and challenges for the industry. For example, there will be a major shift from traditional ICE components to e-drive modules and systems. Ratings agency CRISIL estimates that revenue of the electric vehicle components market in India is likely to rev up at a compound annual growth rate of 76% to 72,500 crore rupees by fiscal 2027. EV components present an opportunity for auto component makers to diversify their revenues. While 75% of revenue comes from parts that will remain in EVs too, the remaining 25% is at risk. At the same time, component makers who were traditionally reliant on engine parts for the bulk of the business and players in ICE powertrain business catering only to ICE engines and transmission could face a threat due to transition to EVs. Also, the number of components in EV powertrains is smaller, and this will affect the aftermarket business, leading to lower replacement revenue. The turnover of the aftermarket in FY22 stood at $10 billion. There will also be some impact on the millions of existing and upcoming personnel in the industry. For instance, EV part makers require more tech people than in the traditional ICE component making firms. So, the skills needed for emerging supply chains will be very different, and hence gradual upskilling of workers and understanding of the shift in nature of jobs will be critical.
The opportunities are much greater than the threats. Of course, because of the fact that this is a big change in terms of where we've seen the automotive industry, there seems to be a perceived threat. And most of the threats come from the fact that what technologies will OEMs adopt? What technologies, therefore, will the auto component industry adopt? However, the opportunities that exist are immense in terms of connectivity, in terms of autonomous, in terms of charging infrastructure as well. And as the capex cycle is kicked in, we're going to see a lot of supply from India out to outside of India. And therefore, investments in technology are key. So I think adopting new technologies is a challenge, definitely. Adopting the right technologies is also something that is new to us, because again, it's almost like we're reinventing the wheel or reinventing the cycle in terms of this from the supply side. So I feel that as it progresses, we will adopt technology much faster. So I think fast adoption of technology is a challenge.
The auto components industry, on its part, is looking to diversify beyond ICE vehicles. They still have the time to do so, and the companies have already begun investing in electric components for the existing ICE vehicle makers as well as for EV makers. ICRA estimates that about 25 to 30% of the total investments of auto component makers in FY23 and FY24 will be towards EV projects. Industry body ACMA recently said 60% of its 800 members are ready to supply components to EV makers, which is a good sign. For instance, Uno Minda has already begun developing specific products for EVs. Electric vehicles contributed 62% of the order book for another auto component maker, Sona BLW, in FY22. The industry also needs significant investments in research and development for building capabilities specific to EV powertrain components. This is one area where the industry is lagging, as the average R&D spend of the component makers is just 0.5% of their total spending. According to ACMA President Sanjay Kapoor, the same needs to go up to at least 3%. Experts say the auto component industry has more opportunities than threats in the shift towards EVs. The positive is that there is still enough time to de-risk and diversify portfolios. Going forward, an individual company's gains or losses will depend on product portfolio, customer mix, and the ability to re-engineer.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.